Hi friends, and welcome to episode 44 of my making podcast. My name is Marlene and I'm a knitter and spinner and sewist from Marburg in Germany. I also do work at my local yarn shop. I do the marketing for the shop and I also sell yarn. So I get to help people with finding the perfect yarn for their projects, which is one of my favorite things to do, since I also love planning out projects for myself. I oftentimes forget to introduce myself because I don't really think about new people finding this podcast. I still always kind of it's just not my mindset most of the time. So but I know that new people find the podcast because people text me and or comment and say, hi, this is the first podcast I watched, or people tell me that they found the podcast and kind of watch back the old episodes. And I mean, I do find new podcasts all of the time. So I thought today I'm just gonna briefly introduce myself. Like I said, I'm Marlene. I'm going to turn 30 in 2 months. My favorite colors are autumnal colors like burnt orange or chocolatey browns or teals, olive greens, pine greens, all the greens. But I do also love a good beige or, like I said, a brown. And try to get kind of a mix in of reds and greens and beiges into my wardrobe. Today I'm wearing my Astrid sweater by Knitting for Olive that I have just finished at the beginning of this year. I don't have a finished garment. And I'm just currently working on one of my whips. But yeah, if you've got any more questions like regarding what I do and what I kind of do if I'm not knitting, let me know. I don't often, or I don't really enjoy doing kind of like Q&A videos. I also don't really enjoy watching them if other people do them. It's just probably like a preference thing. I much rather like to watch vlogs or podcast episodes like the one I'm filming today. So I kind of like producing content I also like to watch, which I guess is fair and makes sense. But yeah, enough about that. Let me start this episode by telling you about a test knit that I have just recently finished and a new pattern that has come out, which is the Seedling. You will have probably seen it in the thumbnail of this video today. And I have talked about this at length on my Instagram and everywhere else because I just really want to support my friend in getting this pattern to as many people as possible because I love it and I do love my friend. The friend I'm talking about, her name is Marla. Her username on like Instagram and also now on YouTube is Knit Not Sew. She does macrame, stitch markers, which is the knotting. She's a knitter, obviously. She's been a knitter for like I would say her entire life. She's been knitting for a lot longer than I have, so I always find that I learn new stuff from her and we inspire each other all the time, I would say. I hope that's okay to say. And then also she's a sewist and I have also learned a lot about sewing garments from her. But yeah, this is her first published design. I'm going to hold it closer to the camera so you can get a closer look. Don't look at my the peeking out floats on the sides too much. That's something I need to address and possibly change for a second version that I'm planning on doing later on in the year. So yeah, this one was made with the woolly knit cone in the Mostaza green that I used for making my partner's 6th season sweater last year. And then the white or beigey natural color is Jameson and Smith that I also got from my friend from her stash I don't know, 2 years ago when we were making Christmas ornaments. She said that she had so much of that left over, she didn't know what to do with it. And so she gave me a bit of her the British 2-ply jumper weight kind of style yarn in a few colors. That I also would really like to use for color work for my feral journey, the things that I do want to try out with that. So I did have that in stash. I did realize that I didn't again, I don't have all the things in stash like in my I did realize that I don't have everything in my Ravelry stash that I have in my flat. Like I don't have every single leftover like scrap in there, obviously, but I also just realized casting on some socks with yarn that I just didn't have in my Ravelry stash, and I just didn't realize. So I just feel so stupid of having made this. Obviously I have this stash goal which I'm like working on, and I do hope to accomplish this year. But then I always feel like if I find out yarn that I don't have in stash, I do really want to put it in stash, like link it to my projects that I'm making with it. But I'm feeling like I'm kind of manipulating the goal, like in a worse way for myself. Like I'm sabotaging myself to achieving this goal, because I won't be able to reach the goal of having a lesser stash at the end of this year than in the beginning if I just keep on finding new skeins. And it's obviously it's in my stash, so it should count. But if it wasn't in my stash, like technically at the beginning of the year, oh, it's just, I'm making it way more difficult for myself. I know. So yeah, I was able to test this for my friend. The hot water bottle in here is by Hugo Frosch, which is a German company. You'll also be able to find them online. Just search for like I think it's a 0.2 liter hot water bottle. Like it's literally 15 by 15 centimeters. It's like tiny. And yeah, I do love it so much. I have another one of these hot water bottles that I got at a like decorations store. If you're from Germany, you might know Nanunana. They're like a home decoration store, and like you can find a lot of knickknacks there. And I did find them when I was on my trip with my friends to Bremen. We found them on a 50% clearance sale, like winter's over sale. So they were selling them. If you're, I would say, fast enough now and you hit up a Nanunana near you, you might be able to find them. Otherwise, you can search for them online. Again, like I said, I did have a bit of a problem with floats shining through. So I would highly recommend trying to just disperse them. Is that the right word? Like try not do them in the same spot all the time. I did that, and you're able to see it quite a bit on those spots because the stitches were pulling a bit too much. I'm thinking about, because the yarn is felting quite nicely, if I'm going to go back in and like cut the floats on this side and like try and kind of tag them into the inside of the hot water bottle. But honestly, it's more of like a tiny thing that's like not perfect, and because I just use it like at home or when I'm out and about and I possibly need a bit of warmth, maybe like if I have some cramping or pain in my lower back or in my belly, I like to use it because it's honestly so easy to just tuck it in like your pants. It's the perfect size. So yeah, I'd say the only thing is if you want to knit this, be aware of possibly floats shining through, because this is fingering weight yarn, and I did hold the floats quite often so they wouldn't tangle. But honestly, it's not like a sweater where you could kind of if you're trying it on, you could kind of get tangled up in the floats. It's like the hot water bottle is always going to stay in here, so I don't think it would be too much of a problem. I think actually someone in my latest video in the comment section suggested that I wouldn't actually have to hold floats at all with this project. Just try and make like the excess yarn long enough when like moving sides, because I did this on Magic Loop, and just like tuck them in there, because like I hope it's clear of what I'm trying to say. It's not like a yoke sweater where if not holding floats, you might get stuck on them if you're trying to pull on the sweater. Okay, so I think that's enough for this hot water bottle. It's a perfect scrappy project. I used 15.5 grams of the main color and around 5 point something grams for the contrast color. So not much yarn at all. I have the pattern page linked as always in the description box, so you can find the pattern, maybe like it, put it on your wish list on Ravelry, or even buy it and make some of your own mini hot water bottles with some beautiful seedlings on them. Okay, next up, this was my first and only finished object for the last week. I have a few whips, like I said. I'm going to start with the one that's actually closest to completion. It's in my knitting Nelly bag, my beautiful spring bag, and this is my poet scarf. And I just finished chart 3 this morning, and I only have the 4th chart to knit, which isn't going to be a lot at all. It's just going to be about this much, which should go relatively fast. Yeah, this is the length that I have knitted to now. I followed the pattern pretty much to a T. I don't think I've sorry, this is tangling and getting on my nerves. I'm gonna just stick it in there. Yeah, so I have followed the pattern pretty much to a T. I have this much yarn left, so I might even be able to get some stripes into my scrappy blanket with it when it's finished. Should have a bit left over. The yarn is the Slavica yarn Mokash, which is a superwash merino yak and silk blend, which should be really nice on the skin. This is hand dyed in Poland, I think. Yeah, it says hand dyed with Slavic sew, and the internet page ends with a PL, so I assume it's Polish. This yarn I got on sale from my local yarn shop. We used to sell Slavica yarns in the shop, but they decided to not sell yarns through other shops anymore and just die for their own website a few months ago, and so we put all the yarns on sale, and I got a few. I actually have another one living somewhere here in like a really nice red color, which I could see myself knitting up into one of these mini midi scarves from Sari Nordland. This turned out bigger than I thought it would. I'm actually quite happy with that, so I think it should be relatively easy to style it. I think something that I could do is I'll also block it lengthwise rather than widthwise, I think, and then maybe kind of tuck it here. I'll see. I'll probably try and finish this today if it's just the last chart left, and I'm really looking forward to blocking this because obviously it's very scrunched up, which it's a lace pattern thing. If you've knit lace before, you know that blocking I'd say cables and or lace is the most satisfying thing ever. And that saying that, I obviously feel, and I also feel like blocking stockinette is already really satisfying, but blocking lace is on another level, so I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, that's my progress on my poet scarf, and let me show you my making journal. Since the poet scarf is one of my Make 9 projects, I've been working a bit more on my making journal, and so I wanted to show you that I'll probably be able to put another flower sticker here on the poet scarf, which then will mark this as my 4th finished object from my Make 9 for this year. I also put a little stitch marker, which my friend Julia made for me, and this is a card from a creator that I love. Her handle is Ghost Puff and her name is Mona, and I bought a project bag from her and a print for my wall, which I love. I'll have to insert a picture here because it's honestly one of my favorite pieces of art on our wall. I give it the title Frogging. I don't know if it was the official title. I don't have it I don't remember it being the official title, but obviously frogs undoing a sweater, frogging a sweater, and I love it so much. It's so fun, and it's next to my print that says the news of today is nothing bad happened, And I don't know why, but that like hits so hard. Every day I look at it, like something, it says Mimi the cat has been found, thank you. It's just, it makes me remember that there are so many good things in the world, and like so many really small good things happen every day. And that's so important for me to remember, like amongst the flood of like bad news that we seem to be stuck in every day. So I don't know how I just came to that. I just really want to add in a few more of my favorite makers or artists, like cards that they gave me. Yeah, I want to put some of them into my making journal. So yeah, moving on to the poet scarf. I've only put in a few informations here. Whenever I finish this, I will complete the page, but I did want to show you that I have filled out the pages of my other Make 9 Makes since filming the last episode. I didn't have this finished then, but I obviously just put in pattern name, designer, the duration of when I was working on this, the yarn I use for it, needles, gauge, something like this, and then a few notes on things that I kind of did differently to the pattern. I did this for the 6 of Daisies, for the Astrid, and then for the Traveler as well. I used to have, like, I think this is my 5th or 4th making journal, kind of, or knitting journal. I talked to my friends about it, and I can never finish a journal. Like, I always leave it somewhat half empty, or like 3/4 just filled. I never get like an entire year of making or thoughts or feelings into the journal. There's always some space left. I don't know why. And I used to, like, I've had a journal every year, I would say since like beginning of high school, and I still have all of them in my basement. But then recently, a few years ago, when I started my PhD, and like when I wanted to merge calendars with my partner to know whenever we're like both working or had some important dates together, we used to we just changed it up to Google Calendars, because that would have just been so much easier, having our work calendars and then like everything merged. But the idea of having like a tangible like paper book like item that I can use for like my washi tapes. I love like creating photography, like photo albums for journeys that I've made. And I just took some time this week, especially because I had some pain in my arms from kind of overdoing the whole knitting thing. So I needed to like step on the brakes and do some other stuff that I enjoy, which is journaling and like scrapbooking, stuff like that. So I won't show you my photo album in detail now or anything, but I might put in maybe a few pictures of some pages that show you a bit of kind of like the style that I like to put into it. Like, I do analog photography a whole lot, and then I don't know. Yeah, it's another hobby of mine that I don't really talk about too much on here. I do sometimes insert pictures, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know, because this has been making me, like, it's been really joyful to kind of keep track of my of the progress I've made. All right, poet scarf ticked off. I'll probably show you a finished version of it in the next episode. And now here's the project I've been kind of working on while filming, is a sock. It's just one sock for now, but I'll obviously make a pair. This is a sock for my oldest friend. She's also turned 30 just now, like a week ago, and she'll be coming to see me on my birthday. And so I talked to her what she was kind of like, if she had any wishes for her birthday, and she did say that she loves handmade socks and she'd be so grateful to receive some. And so we talked about colors that she liked, and I went into my hand-dyed stash and I found this Paisley Knits. I think it's a coastal sock. Let me take a look on the ball band. This is the color Athena in the coastal sock blend, which is a 85% extra fine superwash merino wool and 15% 15% nylon, which is 400 yards per 100 grams, which I think is 366 meters per 100 grams, from Canada. And this is the Athena colorway from her Greek Gods collection. As far as I remember, I got 2 skeins from this collection when she had them on sale, like selling out the leftover skeins that she had. I got the Athena and another colorway that I don't seem to remember the name for it. But yeah, so I picked this one for my oldest friend. But to go with it, I didn't just want it to be like a plain, pretty light. I mean, it's a lovely color, but I thought it could also be a bit boring just on its own, which is why I got some High Twist by Atelier Citron, which is a German yarn brand that we sell at the shop. They produce, like, spin and dye their yarn in Germany, and this is a merino sock yarn that I thought went well with it. I thought the leftover I could just put into my scrappy stash, put into my scrappy blankets and so, or use as highlights for future socks. And this is just a 50-gram ball, which I thought was a great idea. So I used it for the heel, and I'll also use it for the toes. And yeah, so this is how far I've gotten. It's just a 2x2 rib, 60 stitches on 2.5 millimeter needle sock, so pretty basic. I've been working on this a bit. This was like my work knit that I use to, if I do have like 5 minutes during my work day to knit, or during lunch, or on my way to work or back. This has been with me on those trips. And that will mark my 3rd sock that I'm making to gift. I'll show you the page. Nothing much has changed, but I've found a way to kind of mark these. This is also washi tape that I have kind of cut to size, and I'll have to kind of do some sort of like make the differentiation between socks that I knit from stash, and then some of them I'll gift. And then this one marks the one sock that I've already made this year that I didn't have in stash. This stands for the Zauberball socks that I've made with yarn that I just got newly into my stash. So this doesn't really count, I'd say. And so this will be my 3rd socks from yarn from stash for this year. Next project you can actually see here is my sweet shop blanket. This is my goal of finishing my sweet shop blanket, and I said that I really wanted to prioritize this goal in March, so I could see myself finishing off a few more goals at the beginning of the year. So especially like during the summer month, I wouldn't have feeling of kind of getting behind, especially if I don't want to work on like big projects like the blanket, or feeling like I'm behind when it comes to autumn or winter, where I just really want to knit big cozy sweaters, or I feel like finishing up other projects rather than doing my blanket. So that was my like kind of logic behind it, is to try and finish it rather like sooner rather than later. And I have finished 4 squares. I'm actually working on my 5th square right now, so let me show you that. I have my yarn on here because I need to, like I said, finish the second half of it. But the 4 is actually turning out to be so big, so I don't really know how to show you. I'll try. These are the colors I have put in recently. So this one was from my Yarny Advent from my best friend Lydia. I have no idea what kind of yarn this is, but it's beautiful. It seems to be a more rustic kind of sock yarn. So it's not rustic, but it's a bit more rougher, a bit more, I don't know, it's like, it doesn't feel like it's a super soft superwash yarn, but it has a beautiful colorway. And then the second color is Rooibos, or Rooibusch as we would call it in German, from Erin of Coast to Coast Yarn Co. from her Coffee House collection. And this was a gift from my friend Julia, as we did our little like scrappy yarn swap on our knitting trip recently. She knew that I didn't get this color on the Coffee House pre-order that we like where we both ordered some yarn from. As you know, I'm an affiliate with Coast to Coast, so whenever you want to shop with her, you can use my link. So I do also get a little kickback from that. I appreciate that so much, like everyone using that. I'm so proud to be Erin's affiliate, and I love her yarns so much. So when my friend gifted me exactly like 10 or 11 grams of what she had left from making a hat for herself, I knew that it had to go into my blanket right away. The next one is also from that collection, and it's the What in the 8th House is Coffee colorway, which is actually on a natural DK colorway base, but you can see the beautiful like color change in the brown, and I really adore how all the colors play together. Next up are two colors from German hand dyes. This is the colorway that I use for Hanne's socks. So this is from Strickwerk 34. And then the next one is Wilder Wein from Woolen Forest, which I used for my penny gloves. So I think they all go together so well. This is the corner that I'm kind of finishing up. I'm already thinking about how to add a border. I hope that I'll have enough of the double Sunday that I'm using for the contrast left to put in a border with. I'll probably pick up stitches around and do an I-cord, like 2 to 3 stitches I-cord around it. Although I also feel like a colorful border would be really fun. So I could see myself adding maybe like, I have some like curry yellow yarn from Michael's or Joann's. When I went to the US 2 years ago, I bought some acrylic yarn just because the colors were so nice, but I don't want to really use it for like just day to day, like making myself a hat. I just crave natural fibers over acrylic fibers and for making with it. But I have this like one skein left over and I really don't know what to make with it. It's a kind of worsted weight, so it would be a bit thicker, but I could see myself like adding like a curry yellow border. I think would be such a great highlight. I'll insert a picture of that colorway to show you like my vision for it. I don't know, let me know what you think. Do you think like a colorful border would be cool, or do you think I should add a white border? Honestly, it's probably going to come down to whether I have enough of this left. And honestly, I don't know how much I'll need for border, so I feel more confident using a new skein. And then, I don't know, do I have enough of this left? I'm not sure. But yeah, that was my Sweet Shop blankets, my goal. I'm pretty good at my goal. It's the 9th of March. I'm going to try and finish that. How many? It's my 5th square, and so I told myself if I have 14 squares that I want to finish. I'm on my 5th, and if I do get around to doing 1 square every 2 days, I should be able to finish that goal in March. And if I don't like reach it right until the end of March, or like go into 1 week or 2 weeks of April, that's fine. But it's more of like if I set myself some realistic and loose goals, I feel like I work best with those, like, I don't know, things in mind. But yeah, I started it a few days, like when we still had a few days left of February, which gave me a bit of a head start because, like I said, I've been having a bit of pain and I didn't feel like knitting on this every night. And I think about like 1 square, it still takes me about 2 hours, which is kind of long. It's sometimes the only like knitting time I get, which I know is still a lot of knitting time for some people who get a lot less, but I don't want to spend all of my knitting time every day on this. So I thought like doing 1 every 2 days or 3 days is more so realistic. So I gave myself a bit of a head start. Next up, a project that I have not shown you. This is newly cast on since the last episode. I talked about this. I showed you the swatch, but now I already have like half a sweater to show for. This is my Cognac sweater by Atelier Castin. This is as far as I know, a contiguous set-in sleeve. This is the first time that I'm doing it. I've actually tried it on, put like a barber cord into the bottom. It's almost long enough, I would say. Like I've reached the count for the body where she in the pattern says to put in the ribbing soon-ish. I'm not sure. This doesn't seem long enough to me. Like if I'm sitting, it reaches the or it actually goes over the beginning of my pants, but obviously I'm sitting down, so I would think about adding a few more centimeters. I'll try it on and see. Maybe I'll also just put the body on rest before adding the ribbing and doing a sleeve, or even the neck first. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, I've worked through this. This has been my severance project. I was talking to people about how projects can feel like the movies or the shows that you watch or listen to, or even books that you read as audiobooks while knitting on them. And this definitely is my Severance project, Severance season 2. I've just been knitting on this while watching the episodes. I'll go more into detail about the show in my media section at the end of the video. Got a few things to kind of share about it, or like ask you what you're thinking if you're also into it, but let's keep on topic with knitting right now. This is in the Fiberco Ambo and the Knitting for All Soft Silk Mohair on a size 6mm needle. It's in a beautiful like ochre brown chestnutty color. I love the color. I can't wait to wear it. So far I haven't made any adjustments to it, I don't think. I'll have to look up again what size I'm making, because I always forget. I usually do like a size 3, 4 or 5 depending on the pattern. But yeah, with this I don't remember right now. There's actually not much more to mention about this. I've made some mistakes in the yoke and then had to rip back a couple of times just because I wasn't being really focused on this. And like I said, it's my first time knitting this kind of construction. But in the end, I think it was worth going back and like ripping back and redoing it. So now there's no mistake that I know of. Maybe I'll find one, but no mistakes in here so far. It's a really drapey kind of material, since it's knit with a fingering and lace weight yarn on a 6mm needle, so it's more of like a lento kind of gauge. But I do really like that. Like I hope it's not going to pill a ton because of the soft silk mohair that's going to keep it together. The ambo is actually a sock yarn, so there is a smidge of nylon in there, and otherwise it's a wool alpaca mix. So wool alpaca, silk and mohair all in one sweater. Beautiful color. I hope that you agree that this suits me really well. At least I'm really excited for it. It's very much in my palette, and I don't have a sweater in this color yet. So yeah, this was one of the projects that didn't really make the cut for my make 9, but it was on my like imaginary make, I don't know, 18, like in the long list of things that I wanted to make. It was really high up on my queue. I've waited to make this for some time. Pattern was kindly gifted by the designer right around when she published this. She sent me the pattern and just said like if I ever wanted to make it, I have the resources to do so. So I thought that was so nice of her. And yeah, I can't wait to knit on it a bit more. Like I said, it doesn't look like it, but I'm almost done. The body, it does look quite short, but you know, I like a bit of a crop thing. I just wanted to make sure that it's not too cropped. So yeah, it doesn't really look like the body's almost done, but the pattern tells me it is, so I'll definitely have another look. I don't want another too short pattern like the Astrid. If I'm wearing my high-waisted jeans, it's fine, but I've just recently worn my Andrea Maury Rhinebeck sweater from last year again, and honestly that one is like critically cropped. Like it's just a smidge too short, and there's nothing really that I could do about it because I don't have any more yarn of the contrast. I've already redone and like re-picked up stitches and knitted again, And yeah, there was also only so much I could do. It also pills like crazy, like the Bien-Ami curry worsted. Oh my god, that pills so much. The double Sunday by Sandnesgarden pills so much. And then there is the Shanico, which in my cowl, there's no problem with it, but it's obviously a really soft yarn. And although it's probably the one that pills the least in combination of all the other yarns pilling, it's a pilly mess. That sweater is probably more so for the archives and to look at and swoon over and like imagine and like look back at the time that I spent my first Rhinebeck trip. Then I'll probably be wearing it a ton and it's not that functional. But yeah, I will make at one point in this YouTube journey, I will make a video recapping all of the sweaters I've ever made, pros and cons, like highlighting my favorite ones construction wise, yarn wise, my least favorite ones construction wise, yarn wise. That one, like that video is on my radar. I really want to make it, but I still feel like I want to get like another year of knitting under my belt before I feel like I'm ready for that. But I really want to tell you about all the things that I want to warn you about when knitting, and then again tell you about so you know like earlier than I did in my journey of like all the pro tips, but then also all the things to be cautious of. All right, last whip is barely started and I'm going to rip it. So next up, the last whip is the Ribelation beanie. It's a free pattern. I heard about this pattern through the What Mili Makes podcast. She did a special video about featuring pattern designs that kind of work as dupes for petite knit projects. And I do own the Weekend Hat by Petite Knit pattern, and I've already knitted once, but I wanted to make another Weekend Hat with just one fold on the brim. So whenever I was watching her video, she was talking about that pattern and I took a closer look at it, and lo and behold, this one just has this one fold. So I thought, let's follow it and then I can maybe share with you if it's worth changing from the Weekend Hat to the Ribelation hat. I mean, honestly, it's a free pattern, so you can just try it for yourselves. But I just wanted to test out another designer I hadn't heard from before. And yeah, that is a pattern, as far as I remember, that has been published in 2014. So it's been around for much longer than the Weekend Hat already. My problem I've run into, I'm actually going to try and put it on my head and show you. I mean, if I put it on like this, so I mean, am I going to rip this? I'm not sure. First of all, I'm not so happy with my Italian cast on. I feel like it's not really neat. I did the Italian cast on and then the 2 rows of like establishing the rib. I mean, maybe it's a lot better than I thought it was. I'm not sure. And I also thought it was like way too big, but now that I put it on my head, it's a good look, isn't it? I mean, yeah, it could be tighter, but I don't know, it's like on the needles. I'm never able to tell like if it's going to be, it seems too wide like this. You see what I'm like saying? So I'm just thinking about maybe just casting it on in like a regular old like German twisted cast on, which is my default cast on. Though I really like the idea of what an Italian cast on looks like, but in this case it just doesn't look as neat. So this one is just like a big question mark in my head. I love the yarn. This is my Farm Fresh 100% Northeast USA wool by Junction Fiber Mill. This is a Blue Face Leicester blend, and the fiber was sourced in New York. I got this at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival in New York. And this is a DK weight. Junction Fiber Mill is a women-owned and run mill in Vermont. And I got this to make a hat at the first Rhinebeck that I went to last year. So this is just a question mark. Maybe you guys have some insights into what I could do or like should do. I don't know. I'm not satisfied with the neatness of the cast on, though I really wouldn't want to do it again. I'm not sure, like, should I size down with my needles? Should I change up the stitch count? Though I just really want to blindly follow a pattern with this. Like, I don't really want to have to think about it. Do I cast on with my regular cast on? I'm not sure. So yeah, this one is still has some decisions to be made. And y'all probably know this, sometimes you're just not in a headspace to come up and make great decisions about your knitting, I think. Okay, next up, one new or two new projects that I'm going to cast on soon-ish. I told myself to finish the Poet Scarf before casting on something new, so I don't really have too many projects going on at the same time. I wanted to share about a swatch that I made and a new sock project. So let me start with the swatch. This was my original swatch for the book club cardigan. I think you'll probably remember me talking about this if you watched the podcast since then, from like the very start, like whenever Sarah Nordland first talked about this project and shared pictures about it, I was, like so many other people, really into it. And I found this combination of yarns and thought, like, yeah, I think that's going to be it. This was the Solje by Hillesvåg, which is a sport weight, like Norwegian wool yarn, more so on the rustic side, but like beautiful, grippy, toothy, and a beautiful, like orangey color. I'll show you one of the skeins. And then I held it with a Surrey from Explore Knits and Fibers from their Leave No Trace collection, which was a kind of like mystic dye lot, or like colorway. You didn't know which colorway it kind of was supposed to become, but then had some errors in the like dyeing style. But it really reminded me of the colorway that I used for my stick season as well, which I don't remember the name of it anymore, but something redwood or something reddish, like a reddish brown. I was never like 100% on this swatch. I don't know why, but it felt like the fiber of like the Surrey kind of dulled it down a bit. And I also wasn't sold on the idea of having hand-dyed Surrey, which kind of changed color intensity throughout the cardigan. So I kind of, now looking back on it, maybe this was the reason why I didn't cast it on sooner, even though I really wanted to knit the book club cardigan. But then, here we go, there's a new swatch in town. I found 100% mohair yarn in our sale bin. These skeins of mohair were so ridiculously like reduced in price that I sent my friends, like in our group chat, a picture of this, and I'm like, I'm crazy if I don't get this, right? And they're like, how cheap is it? And I told them, and they're like, if you don't get it, I'll get it. So I think it was unanimous that I should get these like 7 skeins for like under $20. It was crazy. Like, we have a crazy reduced sale bin every once in a while that's just in the shop. It's not online anymore. It's just like very last skeins of yarn that we're not going to sell anymore. And I thought, like, I didn't even think about the book club until I brought it home and I saw this swatch on my swatch board, and I was looking at it and I'm like, wait a minute. Now I have this meme in my head. Wait a minute. And I thought to myself, I need to swatch with this. And I held it to the yarn, and I was already so much more in love with the idea of this than I was with the Surrey next to it. Spoiler alert, I've already destashed the Leave No Trace Surrey, because like the decision was kind of so clear, like right away for me, going with this rather than this. I don't know if you see the difference, like if you agree, I don't even know, but I think for like a rustic cabled cardigan, this is so much better than this. Do you see it? Okay. I do hope you agree. If you don't, that's okay, because it's my decision. But yeah, this is going to be my book club cardigan. And I'm so chuffed with myself that I got the mohair on like for a really good price. And I managed to destash some yarn that I wasn't in love with anymore. The person has told me that they're already thinking about casting on a cumulus blast, which is like so nice. What's kind of my backup idea for that yarn as well when I got it from the Leave No Trace collection. So like I said, I don't know if you agree, but I'm a lot happier with this swatch than I'm with this swatch. It's also a bit less dense. I tried two needle sizes on this swatch, and I think I'm going to go, I'm actually not decided. This is both bigger than what Sari is using. I don't know how she got gauged with her needle that she's using. I'm thinking about going with the, I think it's 4.5mm needle. I need to use a gauge to see which one's actually better. But yeah, this one will be my next big cast on. I don't know if I'll tell myself to finish the entirety of the Cognac sweater before casting this on, but honestly, I'll probably try to at least get everything except maybe the sleeves done, or cast this on only like right before finishing it. I don't mind having a few projects like going at once, but if it gets too much, it gets overwhelming to me. So I told myself to at least finish one of my whips, and then this will be my next cast on. And I'm so happy with the color combination and the yarn combination, and it'll be great. All right, next up, if you've been around for a while, you know that I've made the quilty cabin socks, and I really loved making them. I love wearing them, but I had a bit of a problem with my tightness in knitting color work in socks. And so I do have a bit of leftover yarn from the Coast to Coast quilt collection here. This is Archer and this is Button. I think these are two colors that she's had in multiple collections in the past. But that's just how I got them. So both of them were gifted to me for making the hot water bottle cover, the Maxine hot water bottle cover. This was my main color, and this was one of my contrast colors. I've already put it into my sweet shop blanket here and used it for like different little projects and such. But I do think that I've got enough left to make another pair of the quilty cabin socks. And because I've heard Paige from What Paige Made, I think is her Instagram handle, I'll link her and Liz, who's the co-host. They're co-hosting a new YouTube podcast, like knitting podcast together. I've seen her mentioning wanting to make these. She's actually put in my picture and said that she liked the version that she saw me making. So whenever she referenced Bean, I just found their podcast and really enjoyed watching the second episode of that. I thought to myself, so I want to make it. She's planning on making it. My friend Julia, who I've also hosted the Cumulus Cal last year with, she's also been like planning on making these socks. Why don't I kind of come up with a group chat again, ask all these people to enter or like come and join me in the chat, and then we can do a little impromptu like mini cal from it, just like the Cumulus cal. It's not going to be focused on prizes, it's not going to be focused on hashtags, it's just going to be a community spot where people can come to and knit socks together. I love seeing people's like color choices, and so I texted Paige. She mentioned that Liz also wanted to make them. I mentioned that my friend Julia wanted to make them, and so I came up with a group chat for all of us on Instagram, and we want to invite you all, everyone who wants to make the quilty cabin socks, to come join us as well. We're going to start knitting on the, let me have a look at my calendar. I should have written this down. On the 22nd, so in 2 weeks, probably from sharing this, of March, we're going to cast on But whenever you feel like joining, just send me a message on Instagram and I'll add you to the group chat. And then we're just going to have 2 months of quilty cabin mini sock knit along, just casually in the chat. And yeah, I just thought that was a really cute idea. I love doing community things like that with other makers. They just seemed lovely people to chat with about knitting, and so that's how it all came about. It's really casual. I hope you join us if you do want to make the quilty cabin socks as well as we do. And yeah, that is coming up projects. Now, just a minute about my spinning. I've just cast on, or how do you say that? Like I just started my first spin of the year. This is the little Fiber Co. Pairs well with friends, and as far as I remember, this is a Cormo. But let me actually look in my Ravelry page. You guys, are you using your Ravelry for your spinning as well? Because I try to, but I'm not good at it. I like writing it down like in my notebook, but then like trying to put all these ideas into my Ravelry as well. Like I try to take notes on my spinning because it's so important to me to know, like whenever applying them or wanting to know how many meters I got, like I try to write this down, but it's so difficult for me because I don't always feel like I know all the details, or like how to talk about it. Like obviously I know about spin direction and like that, but like grist and spin angle, and there's just so many things I don't know, so I just do it. I just enjoy it. I'm just starting my singles. This is Pairs Well with Friends, Little Fiber Co., as I said, and this is 100% Rambouillet. So this is what it looks like. I haven't made a ton of progress on it. I love the colors. They're like a pink. I'm not usually a pink kind of girl, but like with the Kira Wiggins brown, like multicolored bats that I'm going to apply with it. Let me show you. I think that's just going to go so well. Like I'm so looking forward to this. This has a lot of like colorful recycled sari silk in it, but like the general aesthetic is like a reddish brown. And then I think with like the orangey, purpley, pinkish, I think it's just going to look so nice. And I really want to make another cowl by Andrea Maury with it. I don't think I'm going to have enough for a shawl. I think I bought the Inclinations shawl in her like 30th, 40th birthday sale last year. Let me take a look into my library of shawls and scarves. Yeah, so in that sale I got the Inclinations shawl. I don't know, I might have to see if I make another DRK everyday cowl. Obviously I made the traveler cowl, the DRK everyday cowl. I might go with another one of Bridget designs because she also has a few cowl designs. So I'll probably have to see, look into my library and see which pattern I think works best with it. But yeah, that is just, it makes me happy to be back on my wheel every now and again. I'll also hope to be spinning at least 50 minutes today. So I have a bit of stuff to get through. I'm also still media-wise. So as I mentioned before in this episode, I've been watching season 2 of Severance. I've watched season 1 in 2022 and I just loved it. I'm not usually a subscriber to the Apple TV. I just try and not pay for too many subscriptions. I use like YouTube Premium because YouTube is honestly the place I usually like consume content the most. And then I think we have like Netflix. So when I heard that season 2 was coming out, I was so excited, but I also told myself that I was going to wait a bit till a few episodes were already out, so I didn't have to pay for the Apple TV subscription for too long. So I thought like, I think I only started watching them when there were already 6 or like 5 or 6 episodes out there. So I kind of binged through them like within a week of watching 1 or 2 episodes at night. I watched through it, and now I've just watched episode 8 this morning, which I don't know what to think about it really. I don't really like the twist that it had. So in general, I really love the concept of the show. It's not usually, I don't usually watch a lot of thrillers, but if it's like psychology based thriller, it's fine. But this recent, like the last episode was just a bit, I don't know, I didn't care for it too much. I really wanted the Mark and like the whole team around him and Helly, like focusing on that part of the story. I really enjoyed episode 7 about Gemma. I thought that was really cool. Like that episode was like straight into my heart. I really enjoyed that. Let me know if you're also watching Severance, and if you do want to talk about it a bit more in the comment section, for example, or in my DMs. Feel free to text me. I don't know anyone in my real life who watches it except one person from my knit night, and I haven't seen her in like a few weeks. She just told me that I would love it, and she like was so hyped. So that was nice. But yeah, haven't been able to talk to anyone else about it. And so let me know what you thought of the last couple of episodes. And so having renewed my subscription for Apple TV, I saw that as an opportunity to also get on top of finishing watching the morning show. I started watching it again also whenever I last had the Apple TV subscription, and then canceled it again. And so I love Reese Witherspoon. I love, I wanted to say Michael Scott, but obviously the actor behind Michael Scott, who's Steve Carell. Is that true? Yeah. And then Jennifer Aniston, I think, plays plays it really nicely in that, does a great job in that show. And I've only watched 3 episodes of that now, but I've also thoroughly been enjoying it. So if I don't have any books recommendations or a ton of book recommendations right now, at least there's 2 show recommendations, 2 series that I've been really enjoying watching. And that's it, honestly. That was the update on my knitting, and I hope to see you again in the next episode. I hope that you enjoy your knitting and everything else crafty that you're doing, whatever you're making, if it's baking or if you're reading something, if you're, I don't know, helping people in your community, if you're going out enjoying the spring weather we've been having. I don't know what kind of weather you've been having, but it's been really nice seeing the sun again. Not great for my hay fever, but great for my mood. And yeah, I don't know why I always go into a ramble at these episode endings. Like I said, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It means a ton to me and the community that I'm trying to build around this podcast over the last 2 and a bit years. I really love doing it, and I always appreciate you liking the video and posting a comment, telling me what you've been working on, what you thought about the projects that I shared, maybe answer some of my questions I've put into this episode of where I'd liked your feedback or your insights. All right, see you in the next episode. Bye.